not a game, it's a rich thing.
Hi everyone, welcome to this video where we are going to use artificial intelligence AI. We are going to use OpenAI's API key and use it in a tool called ShellGPT. Let me first log in and I will show you my terminal where ShellGPT is already installed and configured. So I will open my terminal, then I have to type ShellGPT and then -help to know all the possible options. So I'll just give you a quick demonstration. So using artificial intelligence, we can use different types of tool actually, and locally also we can use Sqlmap. Other providers are there. So we're going to use ShellGPT and command to enumerate subdomains of a website. So we need to have permission before we. So this is actually for educational purpose, and we have permission to actually scan this website certifiedhacker.com and asking ShellGPT to write this command. So as you can see, it will take some time and then it will display the command, and you can see to enumerate subdomains of certifiedhacker.com we can use emas, and this is the command emas enum d for domain certifiedhacker.com. Then this command will initiate a passive enumeration. So if you're looking for passive enumeration, there will be active enumeration also. This command which is below, you can see emas enum active d certifiedhacker.com. So in this enumeration, we should have necessary permission before you use this scan actually. So let's go ahead with this command, and that way we can use ShellGPT actually, right? So if I scan, the emas will take some time and then it will display the results related to this website. Okay, so you can see we start seeing the result, and we were able to enumerate some of the subdomains, as you can see. So this is I will stop the scan actually. We're able to find some Cloudflare related information. So we're going to stop the scan here, and then as GPT -help. So when you type this, so we'll get the possible options that you can select to use this tool. So there is a model and all sort of advanced thing you can see. So we can use shell to generate and execute commands. We can use code also, generate only code, and there are different options. So it is a assistance option, and there will be some chat options, role options. So you can use it accordingly, and it also requires OpenAI's API key need to be pre-configured. Then you can start using this tool. So in this video, we are going to actually solve a CTF challenge, and this vulnerable machine, which is already downloaded from VulnHub, called healthcare. It's a vulnerable machine, and there is a flag, root flag, that need to be captured. For that, we need to follow the ethical hacking methodology. For example, we start with footprinting and reconnaissance, enumeration, then scanning and identify vulnerabilities to gain access, initial access, and then we will gain initial access. Once we gain initial access, we'll be able to need to escalate our privilege as well, so that we can go ahead and capture the flag related to this. So let's start. In this scenario, again, we are in a virtual environment. So I will just use IP address ETH1. So I have two interfaces, ETH0 and ETH1. So ETH1 is this machine actually. So I will try to show you. So in Kali Linux, I'm having this interface, which is host only adapter 3, and that is interface 1. And the target machine where we need to capture the flag CTF, that flag we need to capture to solve this challenge. So the target machine is also in the same network, host only adapter. So both the machine, this is the attacker machine, this is the victim machine, and we are going to attack, and both of them are in the same network. So now using AI, we are going to actually try to capture the flag. This is the target machine. There is a welcome localhost login. We don't have information, so it's a I mean the entry point. We don't know how to get inside, right? So we will start with all using ShellGPT. Perform host discovery. This network, we're going to actually use a 0/24 CDR notation, and let's see. We're going to press enter, and it will start with some commands, as you can see. So to perform host discovery on the network, you can use tools like Nmap, fping, and if you're using Nmap, we can use this command, which is no port scan. We are doing the host discovery. It's a ping scan, sends ICMP pings, and this. So this command, you can see, performs a ping scan to discover live host in the specified subnet without doing a port scan. Alternatively, we can use the fping, AG. These are the options, and redirecting the errors to dep null so that it doesn't display any error. This command sends ICMP echo request to all IP addresses in the subnet and lists the responsive ones. So in this subnet, we only have two machines actually, right? So one is a Kali machine, and this one is the target machine. So let's start with this command, and let's see if you're able to find the IP address, and then we will use the another command. So we are solving the CTF only by using artificial intelligence, AI. Okay, so checking the capability and different possibility, also increasing our efficiency in ethical hacking so that we can solve this lab quickly as possible. Okay, so without wasting time, we run this command, and as you can see, we started receiving some IP addresses, right? Okay, that is done. Next command is again we can use Nmap, and we know that the IP address of the attacker machine is 144.6. So this we are able to find it here also, like using fping command, 192.168.144.6. So this is probably the target machine's IP address, private IP address. So next thing is we can also perform this Nmap host discovery scan. We're checking the capability of AI. Obviously, it's OpenAI's API key, so it's like it's giving us good commands. As you can see, expectation wise, it's like pretty good experience so far. You can see 192.168.144.15. So this is another. I mean, this is the victim machine. This is also. So obviously, after finding our target machine, we can ask again the AI to perform something like, to perform port scanning on this target. Okay, so let's see. Now you can see, to perform a port scan, we can see a lot of different options. To perform port scan on the target machine, you can use the Nmap tool, which is widely used for network discovery and security auditing. Here is a basic command to perform a standard Nmap scan. So this is the TCP full connect scan. In TCP, we have three-way handshake. Here, it will do the three-way handshake actually. Sync, act, and reset. But if you use sync scan or half open scan, so that will be like sync, act, and reset. For more details, we can also use the V option as V option. So it will actually do the version detection. And then if you want to scan all the ports, usually when we don't mention the port, actually it will scan top 1000 ports. But if you want to give this option -p-, it will scan all the 65,535 ports. So now we are going to, because we are using it in a virtual environment and it's a capture the flag challenge. So we don't need to have the required permission in order to scan this target, right? So unauthorized scanning can be illegal. So again, AI is actually giving us this, warning, so that we don't use it for illegal, unethical purposes, right? Anyway, we are going to use this scan, and we can include -p- so that we don't miss any port and we scan all the 65,535 port, right? So we are going to clear the screen and scan and include -p- as well to scan all the ports 65,535. And now we are going to wait for the result. I will pause the video in between so that you don't have to wait, right? Okay, as you can see, the result is in front of us. You can see in the screen displayed. The result is displayed already. We can see that we have two ports actually. One host is up, two ports open, and we can see there is a Pro FTPD 1.3.D and 21, and we can actually see whether there is a vulnerability so that we can gain access, or else we can also see there is a port 80. There is Apache Web Server 2.7. So let's ask the AI. Can we search if is so we can search obviously in Google, but as we are using or actually dependent on AI, so let's see what AI is going to guide us. So you can search for vulnerabilities in several methods. As you can see, we can go to the CV database common vulnerability exposure, and it's going to be actually CV is going to retire because of lack of funds. So we can actually make ourselves dependent on NVD National Vulnerability Database. Then exploit database, there also we will be able to search. If you go to exploit database for penetration testers, there are a lot of several exploits available. Security advisories, vulnerability scanning also using Vulners default script, or we can use a vulnerability assessment software like OpenVAS or some other you can use Nessus. Metasploit also can be used. So let's try to check if there is a vulnerability in exploit database. So for that, like we can use search exploit to find if this version is vulnerable. So we're going, sorry, there is a typo, and anyway, we are going to see. And simply, this is the command search exploit, and we can search for if there are any exploits. So as we can see in exploit database, there are no actually exploit related to this particular version. Now moving forward, we can actually also find out. So obviously the other version. So let's quickly scan. Okay, it will take a long time actually. We are going to specifically scan and make it a fast like T5. Okay, so I forgot the version, so I forgot to copy. I cleared the screen. That is why we are going to scan again. and we are going to actually get the version of the Apache server and use AI to check whether there are any vulnerabilities or not. So if you can see, this is the Apache server, and we are going to use because we know this is the command, and we can use this, and there are no results related to this or either HTTPD Apache server 2.2.17. But yeah, we can see there is a like a HTTP less than 6.0. There is a memory execution denial of service. So that is we are not interested because it's like a denial of service. Sorry, denial of the DOS attack, and our motive is to gain access to capture the flag. So that is the objective. So let's go ahead and type the IP. We need to open a terminal. We know there is a web server. So we are expecting a web application that is running on the web server. So simply we are going to open, the IP address. So what is the IP address? Yeah, this. So in order to check this, we can add entry in the etc host. Otherwise, we can access via the IP address of the web server, and we can see there is a website coming soon. Our website is under construction, and this is actually a welcome or coming soon page by developer. Nothing else we can see. If you see the control U, technology and all that, like we don't have much information, so we can do a directory brute forcing to find if there are some files and directories in this web application. Again, using AI, we are going to directly brute force this domain and find directories and files. For example, let's try to give this prompt, and it is giving us different options. So it is telling us whether we can use, maybe we can use Buster, Gobuster, dir search, and this. To perform the directory brute forcing attack on a web server, you can use tools like DRB, Gobuster. Installation instructions also will be given. So this is how actually AI is helping in cybersecurity and making our efficiency, and also saving a lot of time, and our efficiency increases. And so all we have to do is now we can copy paste commands. If you don't understand, also it is giving you the walkthrough of the command as well, right? So let's use Gobuster, and it is giving us word list command. Specify the URL and specify the word list to use. You can use other word lists also. Other word lists we can use sec list and all that. So let's again run this and able to see that we got one page, and some other page we are getting server status. So depending upon the word list, we will be able to find those directories and files. So we can use a different word list also. These are the directories: CSS, font, Git web, images, JavaScript, vendor. These are different. We were able to find actually PHP MyAdmin. Nothing seems to be interesting here. Git web. We have Git web. Okay, status 301. So you can see by copying the link address. Try to open it, and access is forbidden because it's 301 actually. So let's use another word list actually. you can use the same command, but instead of that, we can specifically tell ShellGPT to give us a command. For that, we need to use the S option that we saw in the help menu. So what we have to do is SGPT-S for shell, and write a command to enumerate directories of this website using Gobuster and good word list by checklists. So let's see. So it will specifically give us the command, and it will not give the explanation this time. As you can see, you're directly getting a command. If you want, you can actually use the D option to describe, and otherwise we can execute or we can abort also. So we can use the D option to describe the command, and you can see the description. The Gobuster command is used to perform directory brute forcing on a web server and specifies the target URL and indicate the word list file to use the discovering the directories. Here you can use the checklist discover web content command. Okay, you can E for execute, and it is going to execute and try to identify doing the brute force on the directories to enumerate all sort of directories. Let's see. So it's done actually. So you're not able to find any interesting, so let's try to get another from the web content command. So let's go to our checklist and then change our directory to uh, discovery, and under discovery we're going to use web content, and under web content we can see there are so many directories, so we can use a directory list, big, medium, common, like we all have. I mean, in the checklist we have all these different types of options, so instead we can use the same command that we used earlier, Gobuster, and instead of okay, so not this one, we'll use the same command actually, but it is not there in the history. So as GPT, we're going to use the Gobuster hyphen so let's use as GPT shell. Due to some reason it's not there in the autocomplete, so I will actually need to write the command again, so that we need to open another terminal, and I'll just save this location and then give the same prompt actually as GPT do using Gobuster, and we will say that to use this specific word list actually from checklist. Simply we will press enter, and not able to actually find out, so let's try to give this So now it should actually find. We can see automatically AI, like we have to give some hints sometimes. It might be sometimes misleading. So earlier you can see you're not able to find the path. Now indicating that this directory is located in sec list, it actually remembers things actually, right? So try to abort this and try to go ahead and press enter. And this time we try to enumerate. We'll pause the video for now and continue if we find some interesting file because it might take some time. So we were also able to find there is a robot.txt and then a couple of directories that are not allowed in the search engine. But after a long wait, actually, we're able to find all these directories. You can use a word list, big word list. Depending upon the word list, it might take a very long time. So now you can see there is a directory OpenEMR. So it's like seems interesting, and we're going to actually go ahead and try to access this directory that seems interesting, OpenEMR. So now it is redirecting and leading us to a login page, as you can see, and there is some version OpenEMR. So we need to actually find about we need to investigate about, I mean, we need to do enumeration, or you can see OSINT, open source intelligence gathering related to this particular version. If there is a vulnerability, then we'll be able to find it. In order to find, like, let's try to open or search if you can find something. After the search, we are seeing something in the exploit DB, SQL injection. So it seems interesting. You can study about the exploit. We found this version OpenEMR version 4.1.0. 4.1.0, there is a SQL injection vulnerability. It seems there is a Python script also, and it is actually targeting the open URL web interface validate user is equal to. So we will copy this part, and here actually you can see login and validate user. So we will try to log in with SQL injection, typical like 1 is equal to 1 hyphen hyphen. So we can ask AI also to create some login authentication bypass payloads through which we'll be able to bypass, or even we also able to find this about the SQL injection. So we can use this Python script also to check, or we can use another tool which is Sqlmap. So using Sqlmap, we'll be able to attack or exploit these vulnerabilities. Okay, so we are going to quickly open another terminal using ShellGPT. Write basic SQL injection payloads to bypass authentication uh, in a pen test. So it might reject also, right? So it is now giving us the payloads and giving us a warning also that we should always have explicit permission to test the security of the website. Unauthorized testing is illegal and unethical. So when performing pen tests, it's crucial to have permission and follow. So we are actually doing the CTF challenge, capture the flag. So obviously we have some of the bypass, authentication bypass, SQL injection payload, as you can see, this one or this one, comment bypass. So we're going to use this one and try to log in. And if you use this Python script also, we need to modify it a bit. So instead of modifying, we can use the Sqlmap because here it is also having a different IP and all that. So we need to do a tweak before we can use this Python script. So now let's go to and try to bypass the authentication if we can log in by entering this SQL injection payload and the password, something like to log in, and we're not able to log in. So if we try to log in with random username and random password. So let's see if we are able to log in. Admin, and no, we are not able to. So here we are not actually getting any hint also that, so it's like so what we can do is like try to actually use this part of the payload and try to access, for example, is equal to 1 or something. Copy this link, press enter, and nothing is happening. So let's visit this URL as well. No, nothing is happening. So we are actually going to use uh, like for that we need to use Sqlmap, and we will ask again AI to create a command for us. So we're going to use shell option this time and use SQLMap to find the database of this web app. So we are going to run this. It's going to give us this command actually. We can use this. You can do the description also for this. You can see this is a Sqlmap command used to automate the process of detecting and exploiting SQL injection vulnerabilities. U option, specify the target URL, and DBs instruct Sqlmap to enumerate the list of databases on the target server. We're going to abort the scan, and we are going to copy paste and manually run this scan actually. Okay, so we are actually taking exactly this actually usual to. So I'm, for testing purpose, I added a 1, but removing it actually now, and we're going to enumerate database. Press enter, and it is again, do you want to use those? It says that once something like we will type yes for everything. Again yes, again yes. So it's doing its check. Again we will type yes. And we were able to find database actually, test OpenEMR information schema. So obviously, this seems to be a valid database, and there is a test database information schema database. So we are going to enumerate the tables inside this. So in order to enumerate tables in this database, we are going to use the same ShellGPT and enumerate tables in database this. So now we are using the ShellGPT again. Now we are getting this command SQL injection, db batch, and SQL database tables. So we are going to use this command actually. This is the second command, Sqlmap u. You can ask to describe also. So this is the D specifies the database name, and T lists tables within the specified database. So we are going to clear the screen and run this command. So batch is actually by default it will say yes to all the questions, yes or no, yes, 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 batch. So now we are trying to enumerate the table, all the tables inside that database, and you can see we're able to enumerate 141 tables under the database. So you can see all sort of, and we have a users table as well. So here we are actually hoping to find the username and password, and other tables we can ignore it for now. As you can see, pharmacy's phone number table, then other tables we have. So now we are going to use the same, ask ShellGPT to enumerate columns in the database OpenEMR and table users. So it is going to compose again the command. So this is how actually the efficiency increases, and we are able to do ethical hacking. Here we are doing the capture the flag using artificial intelligence, OpenAI. We're using ShellGPT. So what will be the command here? Again, we have users, columns, batch, table. So this is the command actually. So it is also giving all the commands that we used so far. This is the first command. Then the second command is this, to enumerate the tables. Then after enumerating the table, we are going to actually enumerate columns inside the database OpenMiner and table users batch. Then we are going to run this command, and soon we should get the columns inside the users table. So you can see under the database we have these tables. Under user table we have 53 columns. So we are looking at actually the username and the password. So there is a password column we can see, and username. So we have username also, as you can find. So username, and we have password column. So we're going to use this specifically looking at the username column and the password column. In the next command, we are going to actually dump. So enumerate. Now we need to actually enumerate. We're going to dump actually. Dump columns user name and password. Username and password in database OpenEMR. So let's see what will be the command this time. So this is the command Sqlmap. Let's try to describe it. You can see the Sqlmap is used to automate SQL injection testing and data extraction, and indicates MySQL, and we have the database already. Table name also, we are looking into specific columns like username and password. Now we need to extract the username and password. So dump, retrieve that and displays the data from the specific columns. So we are going to execute this command and abort it from here and copy paste and run the command. There is some problem. Let me see. Check. Okay, so we are not supposed to give the DBMS MySQL actually. I think because I mentioned in the prompt MySQL find database. So that is why there is a confusion actually. In the prompt, I was not supposed to tell that in the database find database of this. This should be ignored actually. Then we can refine our prompt. There seems to be an error actually. That is why. So we're not able to complete the command. So specifically, we'll say that use Sqlmap and dump columns, dump from these columns username and password in database this and table users. So let's check. Now we are getting this database table users column and dump. So this is actually a little closer to what we're looking for. Let's see, like by describing. So now we are using AI and we are making ourselves comfortable using AI, and so that we can actually perform capture the flag or related to cybersecurity tasks. So as you can see, this is the description. We will abort the scan and we are going to. So now the SQL map command is used to automate SQL injection testing and database takeovers. U specifies target URL. D is the database name, and T we are actually specifically looking at the table database tables users table in the database OpenEMR, and inside the table users we are looking into different columns actually, username and password, and looking for or extract the username and password. The dump retrieves and display the data from the specified columns, and then we are going to press enter and we were able to retrieve. So you can see there are some password hashes for admin and medical, possibly the password hash in the columns. And do you want to store the hashes? No, we don't want to store it for now, and we want to crack the password hashes. And press enter for default word list. Otherwise, you can specify a word list also. So we'll press enter and yes. Now it is trying to actually these two passwords. We can use this and try to crack it in crack station also if possible. Like we can open, and in the background it is actually happening, and we can open a tool called crack station, and inside the crack station you simply paste and then fill the captcha and then crack. Anyway, like there is I think net connectivity issue, so I'll go back to the terminal and hoping to get the result, and still it is cracking actually. So yeah, we got the password, as you can see, crack password ACK bar for the username admin. This is the password bar, and crack password is medical and medical. So this is another username. So now we have the two passwords actually. We can stop this and we'll be able to see that the username, this is the hash that we try to crack using crack station, and Sqlmap was able to crack it for us. So now we are closer to capture the flag. We got the access to the web application, and now we are going to log in using the username and the password. We are going to log in as the admin username, and in crack station, yeah, it is still taking time, so we ignore it now, and we use this able to find by looking into the exploit database. And now we'll try to log in to OpenEMR. Username is admin. The password we used that we got it actually from here after cracking and login. So now you can see we're successfully able to gain initial access to the web application, but our flag is actually stored in the server, in the web server. So this is the web server, but we don't still have access. We need to gain access again, escalate privilege and capture the flag. So now in this part, manual snooping of the web application is required. We have to check all the functionality, what it is like. There are some vulnerabilities here. We can upload something so that we can actually upload a web shell and gain access to the web server. You can see administration, global user list, backup rules, other. Other, like you can see, there's a language, form, calendar. So here we have access to the PHP. Okay, so in other we can see the PHP myadmin, and seems to be a lot of different uh, files. So we have here configuration files. After checking it manually, we are able to find there is a file section. Under administration, you can see there is a file section, and here we have the user section also, where we already able to crack the username and the password for administrator user is authorized actually, and the medical user is again not authorized, doesn't have privilege. So medical username and password, we already have it, and the file under which in the drop down you can see there are different files, and we can actually edit this file actually, as you can see, configuration config file. So we can actually edit the config file, and we can actually save it and update. So what we are going to do is use a reverse shell by pen testers monkey, and we are going to use that shell. uh, so upload a reverse shell. So using AI we can actually ask that question as well. So ShellGPT, after gaining access after gaining access using the username, admin username, during pen test we can type like we want to upload a PHP web shell by pentest monkey. So it will give us some information related to this actually. So it is telling that we can simply upload the shell actually, but it is located somewhere. So let's see, we are not able to get that information yet. But if you give the prompt, or you know how to find the web shell that you need to upload in order to gain access to the web server, entire access, so that we can actually do, and that will be located in user shell web shell. So we can also, instead of this prompt, we can say location in Kali Linux. So it is giving us a command actually, var www type name web shells. Getting the same, let's try to execute the command if we're able to find something. No. Anyway, this all the web shells will be located here actually. PHP web shell. Going to change our directory PHP, and we are going to actually upload this reverse shell. So we're going to copy it and we are going to copy this shell into desktop. We'll name it as web shell. Press enter, and change our password to desktop. Okay, so we were able to redirect. Here we have the web shell. Need to do a little change before we upload it. Sudo nano web shell.php. So this is the web shell. If you use the cat command to read the content of the web shell, so you'll be able to understand that before we upload this web shell, we need to change this part and this part. So we are going to upload, but we need to change to the attacker or the pen tester. So this is actually for CTF, capturing the flag, and we need to get a reverse connection from the web server to our machine. So for that, we are uploading the shell to the web server, and at the same time we need the connection. So we should use a port, a unique port, and also the IP address of the penetration tester. So now we are going to use the IP address. Okay, and then port number 4455, for example, and we are going to save this file, and after that we have the file. This is the web shell, and in order to get a reverse shell or an incoming connection, we have to use the same port 4455, and we are going to use netcat actually. So we'll ask ShellGPT to write this command actually. Using netcat listen at port 4455, we'll see like what command we get. We're getting a command lvp 4455, and describe the command. As you can see, the command netcat lvp uses netcat to listen for incoming connection on the port 4455, and netcat invokes the netcat utility. L puts the netcat in listening mode. V is actually verbose mode. You can read about it. And then P port, we are actually using the unique port 4455. After this, we're going to abort, and we're not going to execute from directly from here, but instead paste the command. And now we are listening at port 445, any incoming connection it's expecting, and we need to upload the web shell. So there is no direct way to upload the web shell. So what we're going to do is go to desktop, and okay, we need to go to desktop where we have the web shell, and so we have web shell PHP. We are going to copy the entire content of the web shell. I'm going to copy it, and we need to paste it actually. So we're going to overwrite everything wherever the content, Control and V. So it's not able to paste actually. So We're going to actually copy it like this. Okay, not able to copy this way. We use gedit. And this is the all content. We're going to copy paste it here. You can see we're able to refresh the web shell, and when we refresh this page, we should get a connection here actually, and we'll be able to uh, gain unauthorized access. Reverse shell will be actually connected from the web server to our netcat listener port. So that we are going to actually perform it. Using AI, we are actually making the task easier, and you can also use your own creativity and ask those prompts. That way, we will be able to actually perform these things in an efficient way during ethical hacking. So specifically for capturing the flag, also we will be able to. In the upcoming videos, we are going to do the entire process automated. Actually, we'll try to do that. But now we are using ShellGPT, and that way also it's good. So next step is listening to the incoming connection here, and going to save this. So it's saved actually, and going to the config. Okay, so we got a shell as you can see, and who am I? We are actually Apache ls. We have these files, different files, but it is actually a low-level shell, and we actually now already got access to the web server, but we want to actually further, we want to actually upgrade our shell using pty. We are in this particular file system directory in the web server. So we got access and we logged in as Apache, right? So we will also see whether Python is installed or not, so if Python is installed, as you can see it's installed there, we can actually upgrade our shell, which is this, to interactive upgrade the shell. So we are going to upgrade and import a pty module. To upgrade the shell using the Python's pty module, you can spawn a more interactive shell like bash. We are actually upgrading our shell, and this particular scenario, it is useful when you have a limited shell. So right now we have a limited shell and want to improve its capabilities. For example, you can use Python's C import pty spawn bin bash if you have Python 2 installed. Otherwise, if you have Python 3 installed, you can use this command as well. So now we are going to use Python 2 only. Um, going to enter. Yeah, so you can see we got bash shell now. So earlier also you got a sh actually, but now we are again using the interactive shell. So sometimes when you get access, when you are actually listening via the netcat, so you won't be able to get this sh or bash. So in that time actually it is useful to upgrade your shell to an interactive shell. So now if I type ls, we are getting it actually, as you can see. It's a upgraded shell. Earlier we were not like getting it as we wanted, and we can list the file and write all sort of things. I mean the commands. So we are still in Apache, but we want to upgrade our, for example, shell or access so that we can go ahead and search for the directory. So right now, if we want to change our directory to root directory, I think permission denied. So our flag, so we are actually capturing the flag, and in order to capture the flag, obviously we don't have that sufficient permission, but we are able to exploit the vulnerability in the web application and gain initial access to the web application. After that, we uploaded a shell, reverse shell, so that we can gain access to the web server where the application was hosted. But still we gain access, but we are actually limited. We don't have that privilege to capture the flag. And for that, we need to actually perform some other task. So let's see like set UID permission, like files that can run as a root user. So for that, like we have to actually find that. So using a command for privilege escalation, we will see that find UID find SUID files uh, after gaining access and at present So now we want to escalate the privilege, and that is why we're actually looking at set UID files. So this is the command and the explanation as well. So we are actually going to find the permission 4000 type file, and errors will be redirected to dev null. As you can see, specifies the search. We can also give here, instead of 400, we can give -u is equal to s, the set UID, and then suppress error messages for directories so you don't have the permission to access. So after identifying potential targets, research each file to determine if it can be exploited for privilege escalation. So we are actually finding the set UID files. You can use the find command, and as UID is the set user ID files that runs with the permission of the file owner. So if you find some files, luckily if we are able to find those files, we are actually going to use those files, because these files can be executed as the escalated, I mean the owner. So privilege escalation, it will help us actually find. So let's see what all commands can be run as a escalated privilege user. I mean, so we are going to run that command here, and we were able to find so many files. Here you can see these are different files that allows set UID. So we have cron tab, trace route, then health check. So this seems to be interesting. So right, so we have a health check something. So let's use the strings command and trying to find what this binary is about. So it's like a executable or something, like it's a file, right? With set UID. Set UID, that means like this file can be executed as a root user or the owner of the file. And even though we don't have the permission to access the root directory, but if we use this, sometimes we can escalate our privilege. So using strings, which is installed sometimes in your Linux environment, you can see like some of the commands like fdiskl, config, sleep. So this is the fdiskl command that actually gets executed while we try to actually do the health check in this. So health check using fdiskl. So what is fdiskl? We can actually do research, for example, SGPT explain fdiskl. So you can see that this is for health checking, and this is the string that we found inside that health check file that can be executed as a escalated user. So fdiskl command is used in Linux to list all the partitions, so all available disk. On all available disks, it provides detailed information about each disk and its partition, including disk size, partition table type, number of sectors, sector size, partition start and endpoint, file system type. So this command is useful for system administrator to get an overview of the disk layout and to verify partition configuration. It requires root privilege. So you might need to prepare sudo to the command to execute it successfully. But because this command is when we search for set UID, so can be without sudo also we can run this command. So it's lucky. So let's try to check what we can do actually. So we have that. We can also alternatively check for the same thing. Instead of 4000 we can type u is equal to s. But anyway, we're going to check how actually we can escalate our privilege next. Okay, so you need to do a little research or ask the AI. So because this binary, which is user bin health check. So when we run this file, actually it does this command automatically, clear echo system health check. It will print that the system health check is going on, and then it will show that it's scanning the system. It will sleep for 2 seconds, and it will do ifconfig and then perform this fdiskl. So because this file is actually executing the fdisk command, so this is actually we can add this. We can create a file and add it in the path, and we'll add it in the path in such a way that whenever we run this command, instead of fdisk, our actually executable, which we will replace it with the real fdisk, it gets executed. So this actually you can search in AI, that privilege escalation technique using path variable to exploit the system. So path variable we are actually adding because the executable, the file is actually calling an executable or running a command. So we are replacing that command using the path variable technique. Privilege escalation using the path variable involves manipulating the environment variable to execute malicious script or binaries with elevated privileges. Here is a basic output of the technique. We need to identify the SUID binary. Obviously, we already found it. Find permission. So hyphen 4000, or we can actually use U is equal to S. So we are going to find the set UID permission, and we are able to find that health check that file actually. So once we find the binary with the SUID bit set which runs with elevated privilege, example root, then we need to analyze the binary and check if the binary calls other executable without using absolute path. So obviously it's calling without absolute path that file which is fdisk hyphen space L, right? So now we need to modify the path. We need to prepend a directory that we can control to the path variable, and usually temporary files where we can actually execute with escalated privilege. Other users, rest of the world users can also. So we need to export the path and make this temporary. What it will do is create a malicious script, and we need to prepend a directory that we can control to the path variable. Here we can control actually temporary, because temporary directory usually we have escalated privilege. Obviously, normally because of that you can read. So place a script with the same name as the called executable in the directory. So vulnerable executable is fdisk. So echo bin sh, and then we're going to name it as under temp fdisk, and writing this inside the fdisk. So bin sh will be called automatically when we type fdisk, and we're going to change the mode and making it executable, and in the temporary file we'll keep it fdisk. That actually this one actually fdisk. We are going to run this command and make it fdisk, but actually instead of fdisk we are actually calling, or we are executing bin bash, and we are going to add to the path so that instead of the real fdisk, our fdisk will get executed, which we are going to store it in the temporary file, where even though we don't have the permission to change directory to root, but in temporary directory we can actually do that. So we will change our directory to temp. We can now we can see pwd, we are in temporary directory. We can actually go back also, and we can do ls-l and check the temporary directory, and there are some files inside actually. So anyway, next command is according to the ShellGPT, we're going to find the permission. Already we did. So what we are going to do is find that exact file, which is health check. So this is the health check. Inside we have health check file. We have some commands that it executes when we actually run this executable or binary. So it actually executes fdisk. So now we can run this command, export path. I'm going to run this command. So we have done this command actually, and next echo bin sh, and we're going to name the vulnerable executable. So here the vulnerable executable is fdisk. So we actually made this file, and now if we do ls. Now fdisk file it got created. Next, we also need to actually change the permission so that it becomes executable. And right now it's a read write permission, doesn't have the execute permission. So for that, we're going to make the execute permission fdisk. Now if I do ls-l temp, now our fdisk file got read write execute permission. So current user read write execute permission, group user read write execute, world user read write execute permission. Now this part is done. Okay, so we're going to export, run this command one more time actually after doing this changes. And now if we run the command, which is user bin health check, so we cannot change our directory now to root. We need to escalate our privilege using this method, which is technique using path variable. So let's try to run the health check. And as you can see, system health check echo, then ls now. So it did the health check, and instead of actually running the disk, I mean, the vulnerable exe, it actually executed that what we did actually earlier. So we actually changed the vulnerable executable into bin bash, bin sh. So now we actually should get a escalated sh. So who am I? So we actually were able to escalate our privilege. Now we will be able to change our directory to root, and now we are in root, and we'll be able to get the root flag as well. So cat root. So thanks for playing, and this is the root hash, and this is the flag actually. So this is the root flag. We can decode it. Maybe it's a base 64 or something. We can do echo -d. So no, actually there's something. So anyway, this was the capture the flag. So we are able to capture the flag and solve the challenge. Thanks, and we use artificial intelligence and given the prompt, and we're able to exploit the vulnerable fdisk. And then when we execute the health check, so we got the bin.sh, and that way we'll be able to capture the flag. I hope it was interesting, and for more videos, please subscribe to our channel and like this video if it was informative. And we're going to use AI related to cybersecurity. You can expect some more videos. Thanks for watching.